Good evening again, and today we are here with a new topic, and the topic is very interesting because as we all are using internet, and the internet is a place where it's a ocean of information, and whatever we find on internet is not really there is a lot of information, but this doesn't mean that everything we find on internet is genuine, right? So sometimes people who are trying to you can say who are trying to influence other people can have their own kind of information, and they will be doing their level best to influence the people so that they can get their they can meet their no they can meet their ends. So today what we are going to discuss is how a person can conclude an idea as a fresh idea, which to avoid the snare of politically motivated mind. And this is something we are going to discuss today. So Robin, before I start asking questions to you, just tell the audience that what is exactly going to be talked about. This is something which I've just told them, and you would also be sharing something about the same, so that the idea becomes very crystal clear to the audience. Over to you.
Okay, good evening, first of all, to all of you. Actually, I was thinking why we should not talk about such a topic, which I think is important for many reasons, because we are now saturated with uh, all informations, knowledge, and it is being like coming right from all directions. This is a political world, as we all know, and geopolitical churning is at its peak, that you can say. So therefore I think we should be pretty selective, pretty careful about picking up everything, anything that we choose, even for the purpose of our listening, or maybe we are planning to develop and build up some of our knowledge, right? So we need to be very selective in that way, because all those people, including political leaders and many people, including YouTubers, I mean, all of them are somewhere, trying to trap the minds of the people, especially the young, and those who are very credulous, those who can be easily beguiled. They are they are being, somewhere victimized, especially by this, you know, uh, cruel people or cruel mindset, right? So therefore, I think we need to, discuss something about as to how we can develop our own particular conclusion after we listen to any video, or let's say we are dealing with any particular informations or knowledgeable video or any particular topic or a concept whatsoever it is, how we can have our own personal and particular fresh conclusion on it, so that we can confidently say to people that this is what I could understand after watching this video, after reading that particular stuff whatsoever it is. So that there should be a freshness into that. Moreover, that will be one's personal experience. It should not be influenced, right? So unfortunately we see that nothing as such happening. So your words are becoming my language, and my words becoming your language. Is this the phenomenon that we are now facing these days? So therefore I want to encourage to the viewers that I mean, whatsoever we listen and surf, especially as an internet surfer, we need to be very careful, because we don't know in how many ways our mind, our overall idea are being manipulated. And therefore, if we don't take any actions against it, or we don't try to be, active and behave more like a proactive, then I think this is going to be a very difficult situations, if not now, maybe for tomorrow, because now and then somewhere we will have to be doing something, even for the family, for the society, or many people are preparing for some examinations too. So this particular topic is something which only holds one purpose, and that purpose is very strong, that how we could have our own fresh conclusion out of what we listen to. And let's say we read newspapers on a routine basis. We have some elite section newspapers, which is called Hindu, the Indian Express. So these are the newspapers where highly editorial, highly prominent, writers put their editorials, right? And they are very famous, they are very popular, and they somewhere bindings towards their own personal interest. And this is something, you know, which you can say goes missing out of the sight of those who are not pretty much politically aware. So for example, a new person recently started reading some newspaper, and he goes through the content of one particular writing in the editorial section in the Hindu newspaper. Then whatever the writer writes in the editorial will be somewhere only the fact for the reader, right? The reader won't even have a second thought on that, and will always or try to endorse and advocate the same thought as it was there given in that particular editorial. So how the person as a reader could be more, you can say, aware, and could be more selective, and how they should read it, and after they read it, how they could be able to interpret it in their own way, including all those influencing factors, because a writer writes several things, but doesn't it mean that he's writing something which is absolutely the right and the fact. It is, he is also influenced by multiple factors, right? So all these things we have to be very careful about, and we have to deal with it very cautiously, very circumspectly, and at the end of the day we should have our own particular conclusion, whatsoever it is. How you can say strong the commitment of the writer is, or the speaker's commitment is, we need to question that. If we think it's reasonable to ask a question, always keep questioning the validity of everything, and then have apply your own idea, apply your own personal informations that you have gathered throughout your senses, right? And then have your own conclusion. In this way you will be more confident in all ways. Moreover, you will have your own ideas that will be not like a rotten one, as it usually, I mean, what we experience these days in newspapers or in news channels. People are now just rambling nothing but what mostly people hear all the time, right? So this is the only purpose for which I want to introduce this topic. Over to you.
Yes, and for example, I come across many YouTube videos because we are also YouTubers, so we also just try to know what other people are putting and know what kind of things they're talking about. And recently, came across a YouTuber, and this is something which I know was very interesting, but this turned out to be a kind of trap. So what he discussed about is actually I won't specify the person's name because this is not it actually the correct way, but what this is something we can discuss that what the person says that if you watch this and if you do this thing, then you can increase your subscribers, and you can increase your watch time. And as he also had his own groups, and he was encouraging people to join those groups. And I also did the same thing. As I joined the group, I was asked to pay some money, whereas he said in his video that he would not be asking for any
Right.
money. But both the groups I joined, they were demanding me some money. So
Right.
so whatever is available on internet is not actually that is not easily be.
Refined. Right.
Yeah, you have to refine, you have to filter out the things, right? And you cannot believe everything and everybody. So you have to be circumspect, you have to be aware, and you have to be very sensible while filtering out the videos. And you don't have to
True.
fall prey to
Right.
these people, because not everybody is genuine. So this is something which is very much important, and we want people to be very aware. And because we all are using internet nowadays, because the need of the hour, we cannot do without it, because most of the things are have been digitalized. And even people are, you can say, they are discussing, they are having conversations using digital platforms. So we are going to discuss a few questions that what we need to do so that we can avoid falling prey to people's evil motives, I would say. So the
Right.
first question and the first thing we are going to discuss is, Robin, tell me, what are the core skills and needs to develop, that are needed to be developed, right, to distinguish the constructive information from the politically motivated content.
Okay, I mean, nice question it is. And I think first of all we have to systematize our process of learning. So we have to decide a set of codes which we want to follow, or as a passage, as a path which we want to trade on, right? So that should be first priority for everyone. I'm specifically talking about students, right? Because these students have a lot of onus on their shoulders, so they must be there. responsible for the country's growth in the next or in the years to come, right? So, first of all, there has to be a proper system of learning anything or everything, right? Moreover, the first which I want to suggest of my personal experience, that we know that today we are living in a digital era, and we also know that there is no such you can say a paucity of a kind of news channels or a source of information of the knowledge. So we are almost deluged with it. We are almost inundated with it, so no one can say that we are lacking in this particular thing. So I mean, on the contrary of it, we have to be highly selective in picking up the exact thing which we really want. So few things which I can recommend. I mean following this or taking this thing into account, I mean one can really initiate a good process of a learning and could even continue it for months to have a good results at the end of the day, right? So first thing that a student must do to as according to your question is that how one could distinguish you know I mean something which is right, okay, from something which is not relevant, right, for the purpose of overall development, not just the social but the personal, mental, and the physical development, right? This is very important, right? So the first point which I want to make in the same line is that we have to be now very cautious, and we have to be very kind of sticking to the objective for why we are doing. For example, if I want to gather some knowledge, I should have a reason why I'm gathering this knowledge. I mean, to be having knowledge for no reason sometimes makes no sense, because if you are not going to apply it anywhere, then I think it's going off, it's of no use. I mean, not just
Yes.
for you, for anyone around you, right? So you first of all fix your overall objective, your motto. So if you are searching for knowledge or information about one concept or whatsoever it is, you must have a reason why you are doing that, right? Once you get the answer of this pretty first question of yours, then you can process your learning in the same way, because this is very important. Many people are now randomly opening the pages and YouTube channels and whatsoever it is, just for the sake of getting knowledge or gaining knowledge. But if you ask them why do they want to attain that knowledge, what is exactly the purpose they want to use it, right? Maybe they are preparing for some examinations or whatsoever it is, they might not be able to respond to this question, because many of the people are rare, just because of internet has become so you can say cheap. I mean, it is easily accessible to all people, for all segments of the people. So it's not like that only elite people has a direct access to this for free. I mean, all section of people can usually use the internet for 24 hours. And obviously, what is icing on the cake is that the Geo came into existence after 2014, and thereafter we could see almost 90% of the total populations here are having and using cell phones with internet right now. So when you don't have an objective right now, you will keep surfing internet, and for no reasons you will keep getting motivated for no reason. So you start one video and then you start considering it's something important according to you, because you really don't know whether it's important or not. Just because of the way it was presented to you or projected to you, it sounds more like something very important, and it's something which is immutable. It cannot be questioned, right? So the first thing in this very line I would suggest, and it's really important, this is my personal observation, is this: whenever you are going to understand about one concept, let's say you are talking about one political concept, so before you listen to the people who are the expert of that particular concept, I always expect students to read first their own about that concept, to have not just a thorough understanding but to have a superficial understanding about it, as to what it is all about. Okay, so that there should be somewhere a first preparation done, right, before you go delving into the entire particular project of a concept, right, in a more vertical manner, right? So in this way, what you are going to deal with, you are going to deal with not just with the concept, but as well as you are going to deal with the very tiny details of it, which is really important, right? So in that way you will be able to integrate the concept with other possibilities, so with other possible concepts. So for example, one writer writes something about a political scenario, or on a particular political scenario, you must not be just like falling into the writing. You need to be searching about the writer, about his passion, about his personal biasness or inclinations towards some parties. These are the cues which we need to collect it, right, before we are going to conclude something. So what I actually do right now, say if I'm reading some novels, right, say, or I'm reading some editorial, so let's say I'm reading some books based on any philosophy, I would like to know about the writers. I would like to know much about the writer, about his past, about his life, about his passions, about his overall journey of how he has become a writer, what he is passionate about, or what his personal inclinations. Once you know this and gather this information about the writer itself, you can understand his a little bit inclination. Now once you get these cues, what happens is that when you read or start reading the article of that particular person, you are able to spot all those areas, especially in the writings, where you could find out that yes, this sounds much more like a personally biased and motivated information, and it has got nothing to do with the reality, right? So these are the things which we can capture it by just throwing a little scanning eyes, right? And in this way we will be able to collect, as you told, how you can refine things up, how you can filter out things up. In this way we can filter out things, because these editorials are written in 2000 and 2000 or 3000 words. Now you have to read it all, but you have to read the construction of the sentences, the construction of the passage, in how many ways the writer is trying to show its his tilt towards the ideology of other particular political party, and whether it is going consistently with his own personal idea, as we have seen by, as we have talked about why we got a lot of information, personal information about him. So I mean, these are the few things which are very basic things, I think are mostly unnoticeable, and mostly people just, I mean, take a dive into and take a plunge into the writings and starts getting themselves relished on it. I think this point particular must not be missed out, and in this way you can really at least set up the initiation process. This is just the initiation process I'm talking about, and then in this way you could develop a little bit more understanding on this, and you can reach out to the final conclusion. What could it be? Over to you.
For example, if let me tell you something through an example. For example, if a mind is blank and it has nothing in it, in itself, then it can easily be, influenced, right?
Right.
So what we are trying to say is, if we don't have any knowledge about any particular thing, then we cannot decide whether the thing is correct or not, right? So it's really important for us to go for a bit of a study. If we don't study any person, if we don't study anything, then it's quite difficult for a person to reach the conclusion, right? For example, if I want to read a book, and I just want to read because other people are reading, and that book has become a bestseller, but I must know what I know why I'm reading that book. Is it really my taste, or I'm just reading because it has become a bestseller, or it has got, many people are talking about it. It has become the talk of the town. If it is not of my taste, and if it is not something which can really help me become a better person, or no, it can help me increase my knowledge, then I should not be going for it, because it is nothing for me, right? And if I just go after it because of the trend, which is going,
Right.
then I may fall prey to the other person's, ideas, because I've never
Right.
done the study. I've never thought about myself. I've never give it a thought that what I really want out of it. So it's really important, as you told me, as you told the audience, and you shared, yourself about the same, that we should be doing little bit of study, because without studying, we can easily be influenced. We are
Right.
very much, we will be very gullible, right?
Right.
And one more thing I would like to say is, if we are just going through our impulses, I would say that can also be very detrimental, because impulses, I mean, whatever comes to your head cannot be actually very productive. So you have to be very much, careful about it. If you're not careful, then you are certainly going to fall prey to it, right? So next question which you are to answer is, tell me, how does our personal ideology influence our perception of information? And also tell me, what are the effective strategies to remain neutral?
Okay, I mean, what I could find so far, having gone through this very experience on how many people and with their way of speaking. can easily influence some credulous mindset, and what is that factor which is really something can be called a very significant role player, right? In that, I only could say one thing is that most of the speakers whom we call an orator, I think are pretty much kind of a constructive speaker, constructive in a sense that they know the weaknesses of the listeners.
Yes.
For example, there are leaders who are demagogue by nature. For example, some leaders know that the population of the country is much governed by their emotions.
Yes.
So it is easy to trigger them just by throwing them some emotional stuff or content, right? So in that way, this very gullible section, which you call, I mean, are easily trapped into their snare, and thereafter they lose their own faculty to even apply to that, to start or to even question the validity of their overall concept or the ideology. Because as we all know, many people are governed by their own emotions. I mean, we are emotionally triggered people mostly. I mean, it happens, right? And what happens that when you serve something emphatically, right, and something which putting extra weightage on it, moreover we have some famous personalities, right? So when you show these famous personalities as supporter to all these ideologies, so we don't give a second doubt or second thought to that, because we think if these famous personalities are blindly supporting it, then who we are to even question that, right? Because many of famous people whom we call the real you can say a famous or some kind of big guns of the society, right? So if these people have their own say on it, and these people support some ideologies, then we should also support these ideologies. I mean, let's go with the brands. I mean, if a Virat Kohli comes out and supports one political leader, I mean, I don't know how many people would even be in a position to reject, because even many people follow Virat Kohli in many ways, right? So even they cannot reject this idea of Virat Kohli, right? So this is what is the general case, and this happens with most of the people. Now, how you can be stolid, or the perfect word which could it be is maintaining equipoise. I mean, to be remaining in a stoic position where anything that comes to you is not going to touch you or not going to disturb you, right? Now this position we have to achieve. Now how we can achieve this position, that's we have talked earlier in the previous part, is that we need to acquire some important surface understanding about anything that we are dealing with. It could be anything, right? Because until unless you have the surface understanding or the superficial understanding about it, let's say even a shallow understanding about it, you cannot hold any position on that, because you don't have any right to even speak on it, because you don't know anything about it. So whatsoever comes to you in the form of transaction, you are likely to accept it. So that's why, I mean, we know that how important reading is all about. So before you go and accept the ideology of other, I always wish that the audience or the reader or the students to even have a little bit understanding about the concept, right? So it actually will give them an extra weightage or extra hand or an upper hand, and they will be in a position to even question the authority of whatsoever comes to them as as a concept, as an ideology. So I mean, it's far better position than the position where you don't know anything about the concept, because when you don't know about anything about the concept, you are likely to accept it. So make yourself at least in a position, or put yourself in at least a position where you will be able to ask a question about thing. So it should not be like anyone should come out to your face and could take advantage out of your innocence, and could put you in some snare just because of he has put some heavy words on you, and you could not comprehend it in a way that you should. And thereafter you think if many people are supporting it, like a majority vote goes, where the majority vote goes, many people support it. That's what the psychology of people does, right? So in this way you could make your final conclusion. So this is what I think the best way to deal with this. Over to you.
In the similar light, whenever I go for a particular book because I just want to read that book. So what I do, mine is a different style. I just first go for the soft copy. If I'm, if I'm, no, if I'm ready to accept, whatever is written in the book is something which is really good and which is really correct, then I go for the hard copy. Otherwise, I never go for that. One more thing that comes to my head is, for example, if I want to check it out with the person who is actually trying to influence me, if I can get to know whether the person has got any axe to grind, then I can easily understand
Yeah.
the person has, he's trying to influence me, and he is trying to become, you can say he's trying to snare me, right? He's trying to trap me, and this is how I can save myself from getting trapped, right?
Yeah.
So having a conversation with somebody or having some questions which the person can, can answer, or having a little bit of conversation with the person can really bring the person in his true colors. And if this can happen, if we can do this, then probably you can, you and everybody
Mm.
can avoid getting trapped, right? So
Mm.
this is something which they should actually do. The next thing we are going to discuss is, tell me, what role does concise expressions play in presenting an idea effectively? And also tell me, why is this especially important in politically sensitive discussions?
Okay, see, first of all, we must know that all political leaders are very much rhetorical, and they have the neck of presenting something in a way that is somewhat like very influential for the majority of the people. So there is something which we cannot deny at all. Now, how we can overpower their snare, how we can overpower their attempts, like, or to outpace their attempts, and coming out as a triumph, right? And against them, and against their wistful intention that they want to snare us in their own particular kind of trap, right? So in this way, I think that these political leaders, first of all, are pretty much kind of self obsessed, right? We all know that, and they are very much, you can say, not perfect, but they are pretty much kind of matured on a particular kind of a work that is in their hand, right? And they are all given some work and the task in order to beat up some targets, like, so. And they are highly, you can say, a very you can say influential, because they have the way how to communicate with the people. They are psychologically very trained, there is no doubt about it. And they know how to deal with a specific section of the people. They all know very well. Now, as I told you, when these people are highly educated, many of the political leaders have got some higher education in abroad, undoubtedly.
Hmm.
So we can't in like be in a state of mind where we can, like, face off them, especially just by saying it, that we will come out and start questioning over their own idea, over their own presentation, whatsoever it is. It is not possible at all. I mean, for a section which is not even getting a standard level of education, especially within the country, is not even in position to even target these highly educated leaders. So they are almost, you can say, willingly or unwillingly, advertently or inadvertently, going to be in the trap of the political leaders talk. And that what happens. Moreover, there is a section of the people who really has this very power of the audacity to come out even in a setting of thousands people, where he can stand up and even ask a question, or raise a question about the validity of a particular idea. But at the same time, we all know where the crowd goes, many people follow the same thing, right? Moreover, as we talked in the previous video, that media also plays a very crucial role in that. So a person who thinks something is not good, right, and has also the audacity, or a kind of a kind of a brave, you can say, a bravery or courage, then their courage, their bravery, I think, are always, you can say, overpowered by the evil way of covering of this media channel, right? So it becomes so difficult, according to me, especially in a country where only a few section, which is 1% of the total populations, is enjoying 99, 70 or 80% of the total wealth. So I think it is somewhere becoming a very difficult task, right? So there we have to be very kind of cautious. This is my personal opinion on it. Over to you.
And what I believe is, whenever somebody talks to you, especially I'm talking about influencers, I'm talking about politicians, so they don't speak, what they want. They are speaking, what you want to hear, and they know it very well, right? If you know, if you can touch the people's nerve, and then you can really be finding them, yourself to be connected with the person, and that's what they do. For example, they are talking about, they are trying to talk to me very emotionally, right? I would be thinking that this is the person who cares for me, and I would then start, following the person, very blindly. I would not be thinking about the consequences. I would not be giving it a thought whether the person is doing this because they are going to, they are going to get benefit. They are going to, benefit, from this. So they are master, communicator. They are manipulators actually, and they know how to find, how to get a person connected with you, right? And this is what they usually do, because you might have heard the politicians, they generally raise the issues which people are really talking about, because they know if they
Right.
raise that issue, if they start, talking about the religion, if they start, talking about, you can say economy, they know that their promises are, hollow. They have no, they are not going to deliver on them, right? But still they are making those promises because these promises are going to get them both, right? And these promises are, going to, to get them in their own support. So this is, this is, as we talked about the same thing in the previous video, that they play an emotional card, right? So all the people who are influencers, who are, I would say, who are leaders and who are politicians, they're all doing the same thing. And so we have to learn to avoid getting trapped, and this can only be possible if we are looking at different things, possible, like, if we are now if we are looking at the things from different angles possible, right?
Mm.
If we are being aware, if we are being, very circumspect, if we are being, very careful, then and we are also applying whatever we have learned in our life, because we almost everybody nowadays is, getting education, right?
Right.
And it is quite easy if we really apply our, you can say logic, if we really apply that intellect, which we are born with actually, and we have developed over the period of, over the years. So it is going to be very easy for people to gaze the other person's intentions, and
Right.
this is, how we can free ourselves from the jaws of, these political, leaders, I would say, and, whosoever is trying to influence us, right? Next question, which I want you to
Before you go ahead with the next question, I want to add one more line to the previous part. And this is the recent experience. I mean, you can even see the extent to which these political leaders and these rhetorical people whom we call orator can cross the limits. For example, there was a discussion somewhere, and I was not properly kind of. I mean, aware on what exactly this discussion was going on, and I mean later I got to know what exactly it was. So there was a question being hurled at the speaker, and the question was, what do you think about this growing inequalities, and do you really think with this inequality the country would even survive, the economy would survive? Or do you really think this crime rate, which is also almost almost surging up, I mean at an unprecedented level, do you really think this inequality is what is that leading to this? So, I mean, this man, Anand, that we were talking about, how these rhetorical people could even justify even which is unjustifiable or injustifiable. Now, what the response this man gives is that, I mean, inequality to a certain extent is right. And now the kind of explanation he puts forward as a support to that, as a bolstering for the purpose of bolstering it, is that he says that once the inequality reaches to its peak, then thereafter the requirement comes out, and the requirement comes out to whom? The government, which is the ruling government. And ultimately this particular need arises as to what important action should be taken. So if anything which is almost reaching to its peak, and thereafter there is no way ahead to go, then this is likely to happen, that some radical changes are to be taken place on its own. So for example, only one section of the people has become rich, and the 99 people are almost touching to the line of poverty, then what will happen that the government will even think of providing some sort of what kind of fixed salary to all these 99 people in order to maintain the balance. So this fixed salary would be as a kind of a permanent solution, and this is happening for what on its own because it has reached to some level, and thereafter there is no proper kind of actions to be taken against it. So therefore it has become the urgent requirement. Otherwise the situation is going to be absolutely haphazard. Then in this case the government will do something else. Now you can see how these people could even turn something out to be something else which is absolutely indefensible,
Ridiculous, and it's
untenable.
ridiculous, right?
So
You're
this is
waiting for
how the
it to
people think.
reach the peak. You're waiting for it to reach the peak, right? And then you
Huh.
will be doing something about it.
radical
Why
changes
can't we do
radical
anything
changes
about it
happen
right now?
Radical changes happen when the thing reaches to its peak. So you don't need to take these radical actions right now. It is going to happen on its own. This thing, the conventional process, will go to collapse.
It
But
means,
you don't
I
need to
should
take.
wait for myself to become poor,
Yeah.
then I'll be getting rich,
Yeah,
right?
I'll be getting rich, or even I'll be getting some opportunities from the government that will provide me some kind of fixed salary because
I
you have
think
become you are now completely unwealthy or you are completely poor. You have nothing to eat, and thereafter we are giving you some fixed salary.
I
So
think
that
the
will
day will never come, and that if the day will ever come, then I will be no more,
So
right?
and this is the hypocrisy. That's what I'm talking about. This is the hypocrisy of the
Yeah.
people, of the leaders. Just with the play of words, they can make people convince on anything
Yeah,
whatsoever it
because
is.
they know how they are, lining their pockets. They're fooling people, and people are, getting fooled, and
Yeah.
they know they are being, voted for, and then they are coming to the power, and they are. This is
This
how
is
they are playing with the emotions, right? And they are
yeah,
taking
yeah.
advantage of people's innocence. Yes. Next question we are going to discuss is: tell me how can one identify and overcome confirmation bias while researching, or discussing a politically sensitive topic?
Confirmation biases in what sense? Can you please a little bit
Uh,
elaborate
how
on it?
how can one identify and overcome confirmation bias while
Hmm.
researching or discussing
Okay.
a politically sensitive topic?
Okay. I mean, confirmation biasness, as we have discussed a lot about it previously, also because there is a segment, there is a section of people whom we call an elite section, and this is the section which is you can say thoroughly involved and engrossed into these kinds of educationalist stuff. So they are the writers, they are the editorials, they are the scientists, they are the philosophers. These people are pretty rich undoubtedly, so they have their own section. So for example, 1% out of them comes out with a new idea, then this is likely that the 99% are going to support it regardless of the fact that this person may or may not be right. Okay, just because of 99 people have given their support to this one idea, ultimately we people may fall prey to that because we understand that this elite section has said something out of some confirmation, right? And it has confirmed something which looks biasness or inclination, but just because of this 99 people have supported it, and those all are educated, highly literate, have got some higher education and abroad, then who the hell we are to even question the validity of the idea? So this is the literal kind of situations arising right now. But as I told you, we are pretty fortunate. See, every situation according to me is a situation where a one should be pretty skilled and adroit sufficiently enough to actually get the solution right. For example, let it be that there is a section of people who are, way literate. Undoubtedly, they have got their education from abroad. But that doesn't mean that we cannot question on that. Just because of 90% people, those all are elite, have said something right. It doesn't mean that we, even not educated, can't even question that authority. We can do that. But how we can do that? We have to be pretty much kind of an active on internet in the right way. So we have this internet facility right now. We have number of options available before us as a disposal, right? As a disposable service to us, right? We can go and search and develop our own understanding on a particular idea till the time we make our final decision or a conclusion. I support always that why we should not take an idea about the concept from different sources altogether. When you go through different sources altogether about the one concept, you actually develop your own personal idea as to what it is all about. Secondly, you are also in a position thereafter that you can take your own particular conclusion, as we have discussed earlier, right? So in that way, even the confirmed biasness, which looks a confirmed biasness, earlier we understood that it is a confirmed biasness just because of we don't have an exact retard or exact retort to that or against it. It means that we are not able to speak against it. Now, once you gather information on its own using the internet in the right way, actually you will be able to question the validity of it regardless of the fact how many people have supported it. And this is what is happening. So people are now awakening to that state of mind where they are using internet in different ways. Moreover, these books are available. Most of the books are available internet, as well as you can google it. You can also have the pdf of most of the books. So once you, but again I tell that we have to be little more connoisseur in a sense that we have to be very much a kind of on a subtle understanding about whatsoever it is. So these writers are highly efficient in making things in conjuring things up which is not existing at all, right? So in this way, if you develop your reading skill, if you develop your writing skill, and you understand the particular construction in what way, and you can also connect the emotion of the writer to that, then we would be able to understand the entire picture. What, for example, we would be able to visualize things before our eyes, and we can also counter whatsoever is depicted before our eyes with whatsoever fashion is, with whatsoever degree of a confirmation on it. We will be able to question the validity of it. So this is my personal, you can say, I mean, my way, or my suggestion to all the people. Even when something comes out with a majority of vote, you should be able to question it. And meiotic approach, did you guys, I don't know about this meiotic approach, people might people might be aware about it or not. This meiotic approach is what is much related to Socrates, right? He says that whatsoever comes to you, we should be able to ask the question about it, right? But how we can ask the question about it is that only when we have a little bit understanding about it.
Yes.
Question must not be something which is going irrelevant. It should be on the topic. It should be very pertinent to that, and then we could have a responses. So you don't need to do anything, just to just listen to the person properly, with all your ears, and listen to him, and try to find out in what ways he's being a little bit anomaly, on what points he's becoming little more biased, and in how many ways he hurts the sentiment of the people, the sentiments of the country, as well as he is taking some personal benefit out of it. So all these scenarios, all these things, when we are able to collect it at the same time, I think we will be able to target whatsoever it is. Even when something pushed towards you with some impetus force, with your own idea, with your own personal understanding or intellectual power, you can cross it, you can question it, and that's how we should do that. Over to you.
I'm reminded of an incident actually which took place in my own family. Actually, I've got a niece, and she is so much influenced by a teacher because a teacher is an authority, especially for her. And this is why we are so much influenced by authorities. Whosoever speaks, who's better than us, we are very much influenced by those people. So she
Mm.
comes to me and she asks me, a problem which she was not able to solve. So I told her that this is not the right way. This is not how the question is solved. Then she was not actually believing me because her teacher had taught her that way, and she thought that this I could not actually do that correctly. Except a teacher. Although no, I teach English and she also
Mm.
teaches English, but I found that that was incorrect because
Mm.
I've got so many proofs. But
Yeah.
she was not ready to accept because
Ah.
she is being trained by that lady, and I've not taught her because she doesn't want to be taught by me. So
Agree.
this is the reason, whosoever is, you can say, whosoever is better than us, we are, willy-nilly, getting trapped, getting influenced by them because we haven't developed ourselves. We haven't
Right.
actually made ourselves so, as well as the person, right? Or as good as the person, and that's the reason. For example, if Virat Kohli comes and as you just talked about, Virat Kohli comes and he advertises any particular brand. So because he is very popular, so whatever he says will resonate with the other people as well because they think if this person is advertising something, then the brand must be very very nice, right?
Right.
And if any other person comes who's not as popular as him, then I think people not be going for that person as much.
Right.
This is very natural, but because we are living in this world, and this is somewhere going to affect us, affect our economy, affect our country, affect us as a person, and affect the whole society. So we should be very much concerned about it, and it is only possible to come out of it if we are doing a little bit of study. We are getting ourselves ready, we are preparing ourselves to counter them, right? And to we are able to filter out the things, then
Right.
only it is possible. Yes, next thing which is very much important to discuss, and for people to know, is that, tell me, what are the dangers of aligning conclusions with the dominant narratives seen online? Because we read so many
Yeah.
things online. And also tell me how means how can individuals craft original nuanced perspectives.
Okay, responding to your first question, and it's really natural. I mean, it is something which I say it's not in our control. I mean, in a class, there are 100 students, and 99 students support one idea. So it becomes almost a compulsion for that one student left to even support that idea. Willingly or unwillingly, he will have to do that. But I still say that even that one person could even come out and could could be standing out of the line, but only on one condition, that if he has a strong ground to oppose that 99 students and the ideology which to which they subscribe, right? So this is the first thing. I mean, on the basis of it, you could really be more confident, and you could be even more blunt. I mean, it's not easy, by the way. It's just like we are talking about here, but it happens everywhere. I mean, even in meeting, if you go and attend some conference meetings, and which is taking place, at a very higher level, right? So, I mean, several people are supporting one idea, and you even have some doubt on their over selective or selections, but just because of you don't have a particular kind of a strong contention on that, so you would likely to be consistent with their ideas too. So as I told you again, the only records which is available to us is that our own personal ability to counter against something which is highly prevalent and which is much supported by the majority of the people. And that is not something could be achieved overnight. It is something which demands your overall perseverance is that you must be thoroughly you can say
We
aware about
we have to be
everything that
prepared
comes
and
to you.
aware. If lack of
Everything.
preparation, lack of awareness can all means it'll always be stopping ourselves from proposing.
Absolutely. This is what we have to put or take into account, because until unless you have an understanding about the thing, how you can even support or how you can be against of it. This is the very general question, right? So this, how I understood, could be sorted out. So for that reason, we need to engross as much as possible into readings, into going and understanding about different ideas and the concepts. One thing which is very important, and I'm pretty much inspired by this very idea, which is called continue to be observationalist without being judgmental, and which is so much supported by even Osho, as well as Jiddu Krishnamurti and many of the philosophers who supported this idea. In this way, what you will get is that you will go through all concepts in the life, all the philosophies, all the new kind of ideas which is emerging out right now. Okay, as the situations and the societies are consistently changing already. So these new concepts are coming out, springing out from it. So if you continue to put your mindset on this path of observation, and you continue to observe without getting yourself being affected in any way or trying to be any judgmental, this is a fair possibility with you that you will have some impartial understanding about it, and you'll be able to apply it to the time where it is needed, right? So in this way, you will be opening up yourself towards numerous ideas, right? Which is not possible to someone whom we call a short sighted. I call those people short sighted who only subscribe to one ideology, regardless of regardless of the fact that particular ideology has got nothing to do with any development of any kind, right? So in this way, we could really sustain our process of learning, and we could be able to stand out of the line. Or, I mean, no matter what, how many people support one particular thing or an idea. Over to you.
Yes, I can, I can relate it with the one incident which happened to me when I was going to be interviewed by, the panel of specialists. Actually, I was going to be interviewed by the panel, especially on grammar, right? Because I went to give an interview, and then when I was giving my demonstration, right? So as you already know, I pronounce often as often, because that is also a way of pronouncing it, right? So means as I was demonstrating, he suddenly stopped me. He interrupted and said that just tell me, how can you pronounce this word? This is the incorrect pronunciation, because I was sure, and I had done
Yeah,
preparation. So I said that said this
yeah,
it can be pronounced in two ways. So he said, you are just fooling us because we have never heard this, may be very slangy. I said, this is not slangy, right? You can go and check it out. Then I just showed him because I had
uh,
the phone with
uh,
me, and I showed him. So then he accepted. The other time, the other explanation which I gave him, actually I told them that we can also use article with the proper nouns.
yeah,
This is possible in some special cases when you are, you can say when you are using proper nouns as common nouns, right?
yeah.
So he said this. So where did you study it from? I said that
Wow.
I studied it from, because it's written in books, and I've also been taught by people, right?
Yeah.
So this is not possible. Show me if you have evidence. Then I showed him because I brought some books with me.
Mm.
So now tell me, I couldn't have done that because if I had not prepared myself.
Obviously.
So if you have prepared yourself, then you can counter. Otherwise, you will always be. I would have been, convinced by them if I hadn't prepared myself. So this is what we are trying to say. If we are preparing ourselves, we are keeping ourselves in touch with the changing circumstances, changing you can say environment, and we keep polishing our knowledge. This is how we can come out of the snare of politics, you can say, and we can come out of the snare of the people who are trying to influence us for their own benefits, right? So this is something we really wanted to talk about. And this if it is done with the I mean efforts, I would say, with that more efforts and sincerity, the person will be able to you can say get out of that trap, which he or
Yeah.
she is already trapped, or they can
Yeah.
avoid getting trapped actually. So this is
So,
hopefully,
before you go and take this to the end of this part, I would like to say one thing in a more summary form that I mean, be always in a conscious state of mind and ask yourself for one question. Everything that comes to you as a new learning is that what is the reason for which you are doing it. Second, I mean, if someone comes to you as a new concept, and if it comes to you with an extra some extra force, then in how many ways you can counter it, and if you're not able to counter it, you should ask yourself why you're not able to counter it, because not a
yes.
single thing which is here existing on the planet cannot be countered. So this is the power of the mind, the dynamism of our mind, which you should follow. And once you start behaving in that way, trust me, you will have answers for everything. And even if you don't have answers for everything, you will be at least be more satisfied that you are actually having your own particular conclusion. That is the purpose, that is only the purpose for this video which we are creating for all of us, that we should be able to conclude things in a more fresh way, as fresh oven, as something which is coming out as a fresh oven, right? So that you'll be more confident when you talk about it. Our thoughts will remain our thoughts, and when you speak it to people, I mean, it gives us like something, a good feeling, a better position that you hold. I mean, comparison comparatively, other people hold it, right? Over to you.
Same is relatable to the life of my, spiritual guru. You won't believe, he has been a spiritual person since the beginning, because actually he is, I think, incarnation, I would say. When he was just, 4 years old, he saw the Lord Shiva in his dreams,
Mm.
and he saw that he was being taken away from his mother by him. So, and then he started, studying the scriptures and all. By the age he was 9, he became astrologer. He could predict the people, people's future. He did, astrology professionally. Now whatever he read in the, scriptures, he wanted to check it out, whether, they're it's correct or not. So he even wanted to, you can say, verify those facts which are written in the scriptures. You won't believe, he was not ready. He said, if it is the reality, then I would like to, I would like it to be verified, right? And then he went to the Himalayas. He did the, meditation. He did 15 hours, 15,000 hours of meditation. And you won't believe, the goddess herself manifested, before him.
Oh,
It means, if because because he wanted to check the reality. Yeah, he wanted to go for the reality check. And because it is a reality, then he got to know that it's real.
absolutely.
But he now believes that it is possible, because he did something, right? He went and worked hard, and and then did everything which was required. And that's why he could see the manifestation of the god, right?
Right.
It couldn't have been possible if, hadn't he went gone for the reality check. Means,
Right.
if he didn't want to verify the facts.
Right.
Because if you are taking something for granted, then because you are living in this world. And those who have written something, they must have thought about something. They must have
Right.
felt that, and that's what they've written. But if you have some doubt, then go and then check it out, right?
Right.
And then you will not have any guilt. You will not have any confusion. You will not
Right.
have any kind of grudge, I would say, against
Right.
anything or anybody. And this is only possible if you are you can say, enhancing your knowledge, if you are enhancing your awareness, and if you are studying things very thoroughly, right? Then only you can become confident, and then you can counter. Otherwise,
And moreover, you will not be a subject of exploitation for other.
yeah, because now you know the
This
reality.
is
You will not
pretty
be
popular
you will
thing.
not be getting trapped, by the moving words of somebody, right? So this is how a person can save themselves, because in today's world, people are really trying to influence others for their own benefits. And this is
Right.
how they are living, a lavish lifestyle. They're living a debauched lifestyle, I would say.
Right.
And we are getting, we are the one who are suffering. So
Right.
if we want to stop this to happen, then
Yeah.
we have to become, aware, and this is only
And
possible
be
with
and,
knowledge.
and not just be clever, but also be astute. Astute is even more
Yeah, that
a kind of personality trait where a person, according to the circumstances, reacts. So this is what
yes.
we have to adopt.
We have to develop this acumen, and this
Yeah.
can only be possible if we have gained the required knowledge.
Right.
Without
Right.
knowledge, we cannot actually, you can say, gain that acumen, right?
Right.
So it's enough for today, and
Yeah.
we are going to have, more and more good, ideas with the, I mean, to share with the audience in the days to come. So we'll be
Yeah.
coming. I think we'll be having another video on. Uh, Friday, because
Yeah.
it's a holiday, so it's a nice day for us to get to connect, and then share the ideas, right?
Mm.
So for the time being, I'm taking a leave, and I'll see
Yeah.
you on Friday.
Yeah. Good night. Take care. Bye
Right.
bye.